Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Rocket the Yahweh, Rocket the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Rakatah. So, this happened yesterday as they are deliberately starting fires everywhere, as you know. Pretty much smoking people out because they've been wearing a mask for a whole fucking year. So, you know, cases of COPD will come up, but then they'll get labeled CV, you know, Crown Royal. And, of course, they'll blame the unvanesced for it, as usual, right? But, you know, they're deliberately starting fires, you know. So, again, what was it? Oh, those that have upper respiratory infections might have the Chinese virus, right? You know, so what do you think causes upper respiratory infections? Fires? Yeah. So there you go. You know, and it's deliberately being allowed to burn out of control. As this one's the one that's near Stockton, but there's a lot more fires that's been going on for the past few days. In fact, the big one we already know about, Dixie Fire, surpasses 700,000 acres, only 35% contained. Dixie Fire has grown to 700,630 acres, and containment remains around 35%. I think this is an older older update. So, anyhow, they are deliberately letting it burn, though. Yeah, that's an older update. That's August 20. This is the 27th, so luck, yeah. But while we're talking about fires, you got this going on the East Coast. Hurricane Watch is issued for New Orleans. So let's go ahead and give her a play if I can blow this up here.
Yeah, trouble in the tropics. We continue to see Tropical Storm Ida getting better organized. It is going to strengthen the rest of our Friday night, and especially in the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. We are looking for a landfall in the central Gulf Coast, and the timing of that is going to be most likely Sunday night, but it could be, if it slows down, as late as Monday morning. All right, Ida getting better organized. It is strengthening. You can see a growing area of clouds. Center of circulation now south of the northwest tip of Cuba. Most of the clouds and precipitation is on the northern and on the eastern side. You can see the reason for that. Still, the environmental conditions aren't perfect for development. Still have some dry air. You can see that on the western side, although that seems to be leaving. And there's still some light wind shear, or winds in the upper part of the atmosphere coming out of the south. And that is preventing rapid intensification, but Ida is strengthening as it presses to the north and west, and conditions, I think, are going to be ideal for development in the Gulf of Mexico. Very warm waters, I think that is counteracting the dry air and the light wind shear in the northwest Caribbean.
So there you go, Hurricane Ida, which may be downsized to a tropical storm. But nonetheless, though, these are things indeed that's happening. And there's more here. A hellish summer in Lake Tahoe choked in smoke with the Caldor fire closing in fast. The smell of burnt mesquite chokes the mountain air, but it's the signs along the roadways that announce the early end of the summer season at South Lake Tahoe. So, summer's over. And this is a Caldor fire update.
Situation there. We continue our Northern California wildfire coverage right now.
And the fight against the Caldor fire continues on several fronts. So far, more than 126,000 acres have been burned. 12% of this fire is contained. More than 24,000 people remain under evacuation orders. 2,600 firefighters are currently tackling this fire.
Right now, crews focused on the fire's east side. They're trying to prevent it from spreading into more populated areas. That's the big goal here. KCRA 3 spoke with a crew that traveled here from the San Bernardino National Forest, and the captain of the 5-person crew describes the conditions they're seeing as anything but predictable.
It's just gotten into an area where there's still a lot of dead and down and fuels that are ready to go, and it's just continuing pushing east. We have to kind of think outside the box a little bit more, just with the fuel conditions and stuff like that.
Well, the impact of the Caldor fire could be felt for weeks on Highway 50. The fire has burned dozens of trees along the roadway. Even after the flames are out, work to assess and remove trees that pose a threat to drivers on that heavily traveled.
Remove trees. And why are they doing this? So that way you can't escape these big cities, because a lot of people want to leave the big cities because of the vaccine push, right? You know, they want to mass inoculate everyone, and this is going on our side of communities, right? And I saw this because I was on my way back from where I work out at, and well, this is what's happening in Redding locally.
19 cases were reported in Shasta County yesterday, and tonight they're calling it a medical freedom rally. Healthcare workers and their supporters who don't want to follow the state mandate to be vaccinated for COVID. Tonight they're protesting the order in front of Shasta Regional Medical Center in downtown Redding. KRCR News Channel 7's Daisy Caballero is there now, and let's check in with her live. Daisy.
Good evening, Mike. Yeah, so we are currently here at the rally. It just kicked off a few moments ago, but I'm going to go ahead and step out so you guys can see kind of what we are seeing here. So a lot of noise, a lot of people, I'd say maybe a few dozen people are here as of right now, but again, it just kicked off, so there is still a lot more time for people to get here until 7:30, but again, some of those signs reading freedom to choose, honk for freedom, stop the madness, and really people of all ages, you know, adults, elderly people, and kids as well, as probably you guys can see on your screen. But yeah, just a lot of noise and a lot of people telling me that, you know, they're not all against the vaccine, but the fact that they are mandated to get the vaccine, that is something that they don't like hearing. But I spoke to a woman earlier today, just probably around 15 minutes ago, and this is what she said, why she's here today.
I am here for medical choice. I do not believe that we should be forced to take a vaccination that has a lot of adverse reactions. And there's no long-term studies been done, and so that concerns me. And I feel if people want it, they should get it.
Now, Dignity Health is requiring all healthcare workers to be fully vaccinated by September the 30th. Again, so if you guys are wanting to come at this rally, again, at the corners of the Shasta Regional Medical Center, they are expecting to be here until 7:30 tonight. Reporting live in Redding, Daisy Caballero, the North States News.
And then we have more with the hoax.
And when we come back, we're learning new
Good evening, I'm Daisy Caballero. An increase in COVID-19 hospitalizations is starting to impact
Cooking the numbers.
are running inside. Now this includes postponing or completely canceling certain procedures. Both Shasta Regional and Mercy Medical Center tell me they've seen COVID cases skyrocket within the last 3 to 4 weeks. They're also seeing younger people getting sick and more people on ventilators. As of Wednesday morning,
they get
68
paid a lot to put
are being
people on ventilators
hospitalized with COVID, with 15 in the ICU. Now, because of this increase,
remember, $30,000 to put them on a ventilator. $15,000 to say they have it.
Hospital beds open. Robert Folden with Mercy Medical Center Redding says their surgical group looks at current COVID numbers to help predict how many ICU beds they will need to have available for non-COVID patients.
Get ready for the purple terrier.
And Robin, but the predictions we have is that this current surge may last clear through October, or it may peak in October.
Yeah, I bet you'll make sure of that
the
too.
The models overestimate, especially at the rate we're entering this surge.
Visitor policies for both hospitals have also changed. They're now asking visitors to a proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test before seeing their loved ones.
So, fuck you, you know, this ain't the time, man, you know, ain't no fucking way. And even more, huge, Japan recalls 1.63 million doses of Moderna due to foreign material contamination. After 8 distribution centers across Japan reported contamination of the Moderna due to foreign materials, the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare made the call to halt the shots. Kind of like Johnson & Johnson was halted, but then they proceeded it, you know. And many people got it. And then again, how can we forget? Biden vows to retaliate against a terrorist who killed the military members in Afghanistan. Oh, you mean your paid mercenaries, ISIS? Which you're going to help in Syria? Why, you're launching your airstrikes against ISIS, but you're really helping ISIS because you're going to be bombing the Syrian government? Yeah, those guys? Yeah, I bet you're going to be going right into Syria. You're not going to make any bombings in Afghanistan, no. You're going to go right to Syria, because that's what you wanted all along.
Longest war. We will not forgive. We will not forgive.
Hey, I don't forgive you either, Esau.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
The president condemning the terror group ISIS-K for Thursday's bombing, a nightmare scenario he had warned about
for days.
For
more war in
and
Syria.
honoring the service members who lost their lives in Kabul as the backbone of America.
It's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here. We're heroes. Heroes
Yeah,
that
you're the
engage
villain.
in a dangerous, selfless mission to save the lives of others.
President Biden noting his predecessor made the original deal with the Taliban to withdraw troops, but acknowledging that when it comes to the chaotic past few weeks, the buck stops with him.
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened.
And this morning, the president's facing a bipartisan barrage of new criticism. Top Democrat Senator Bob Menendez angry the U.S. is relying on the Taliban to help protect the airport, writing, "We can't trust the Taliban with American security." And Republican Ben Sasse blasting the administration's strategy, saying, "Reverse course and fight for our people. This is likely to get worse, and weakness will accelerate the bloodshed." Still, President Biden is standing by his commitment to an August 31st withdrawal date.
We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation.
President Biden says U.S. intelligence...
Yep, and you made sure you stole everything you could from Afghanistan. And they could have whatever's left over, but hey, the Afghanistan airport explosion happened under Biden, but traces back to Trump. So, again, it's probably the same interview where he blames Trump for it. Well, let's go ahead.
Just 5 days before President Biden's deadline to end America's longest war, the commander-in-chief addressing what is now one of the deadliest days for U.S. troops in the entire 20-year conflict.
These American service members who gave their lives, it's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here. We're heroes.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, you mean making sure that Oxycontin is available to all... that are addicted to painkillers? Oh, yeah, those heroes, yeah. Heroin heroes, right? Ex-Navy SEAL who killed Bin Laden. Obama Bin Laden, right. In Kabul airport explosion said it's a sad day. Yeah, that's right. You dumped a body over the ship. We never saw the body. Is it because he was the president? Maybe. Ex-Navy SEAL who killed Obama Bin Laden. Robert O'Neill discusses terrorism in the Middle East and describes the Marines being killed as a sad day during an appearance on Coast to Coast. Well, isn't that nice? Yeah, the false killing of Osama, who is Obama. What to know about ISIS-K, the terror group claiming responsibility for... Oh yeah, ISIS-K, now they gotta add the K there. Forgot about that. ISIS, with a K!
The chaos, the threats to Americans and their allies at the Kabul airport are pinned squarely tonight on a terror group with a familiar name that has only burst into the mainstream in recent days.
My main concern is that ISIS-K would look to deploy a massive bomb or a team of bombers to strike simultaneously.
ISIS-K, the K for Khorasan, an area around the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. ISIS-K claims to be a branch of the main ISIS terror group, which gained power in Syria and Iraq 7 years ago. Experts say ISIS-K, comprised of some veteran jihadists from Syria and elsewhere, has lost ground and manpower since 2018, but still has a presence in eastern Afghanistan and has formed cells in Kabul. In total, according to a UN report, they're believed to have between 1,500 and 2,200 fighters in Afghanistan.
A lot of these are former Taliban who slapped on the ISIS patch in order to sort of make themselves the biggest, baddest guys on the block.
But ISIS-K is now a sworn enemy of the Taliban.
The Taliban are fighting them. Really, you know, it's local rivalries.
Why, more broadly, have the two notorious terror groups turned on each other?
For a number of reasons. Those range from ideological to political to military. Frankly, ISIS doesn't believe in a political agenda. ISIS believes that only God can rule. And even though the Taliban is attempting to establish an Islamic emirate, that's not enough for ISIS. ISIS is a bit more hardcore.
So hardcore, according to analyst Colin Clark, that ISIS-K is thought to be even more draconian than the Taliban. In areas they control, he says, they impose harsh Sharia law, execute civilians and others who they suspect are spies.
They want to attract and recruit the most ardent sociopaths in the country, and their calling card is this, rapacious and wanton violence against anyone that stands in their way. That actually helps them bring in other fighters.
Well, I'm not going to rule out that they'll attack Afghanistan, but beware. This is going to be another false war against ISIS, whether it's with the K or without the K. Great. Oh, isn't this interesting, though, after the so-called withdrawal from Afghanistan, now you're seeing this. U.S. coalition carries out airdrop, kidnaps a number of civilians in Deir ez-Zor countryside. Yeah, see, extortion, destabilizing the region. Yep, that's America. The illegitimate so-called U.S.-led international coalition carried out an airdrop in Al-Baghdad town in Deir ez-Zor eastern countryside and kidnapped a number of civilians. Local sources told Syrian Arab news agency that aircrafts of the international coalition carried out an airdrop in Al-Baghdad town in Deir ez-Zor eastern countryside during the past hours, raided a number of houses in the town, and kidnapped a number of civilians, taking them to an unknown destination. Well, could be a quarantine camp too, like the ones they're building over here. The sources added that the militants of the QSD militia have deployed in the surroundings of the town, coinciding with the raids of the U.S. coalition. So, there you have it, though. Yeah, and of course you got this, more false flag touting, right? U.S. on alert for more attacks, death toll from Kabul airport carnage. So, in other words, preparing for more false flag events, right? U.S. forces helping evacuate Afghans desperate to flee new Taliban rule were on alert more attacks on Friday after Islamic State, which they control, attack killed at least 92 people, including 13 U.S. servicemen just outside the airport. So, get ready for a lot more false flags. And then you got this going on in Syria, right? U.S. occupation brings in 45 vehicles to its bases in Hasaka countryside. So there you go. Let's see what this convoy is. U.S. occupation forces continue to violate the sovereignty of the Syrian state as a convoy laden with military equipment and logistics entered in the Syrian territory. And they're doing this all the time. Local sources told Syrian Arab news agency that the U.S. coalition have brought a convoy of 45 vehicles, including trucks, refrigerators, and tankers carrying large covered boxes headed to Alon town in Hasaka countryside to support their illegitimate bases in Syria. So there you have it. Hey, and if you thought that it was just over here, no. Hey, it's happening in Damascus too. Chinese virus outbreak, right? Damascus hospital on alert again after increasing Chinese virus cases. So, let's see if we can get this up there. Remember, it's a World Health Organization. So you see, Esau does run the world.
بالتزامن مع ارتفاع عدد إصابات كورونا والحالات المشتبهة المراجعة للمشافي، رفعت الهيئة العامة لمشفى دمشق جاهزيتها لجهة التوسع في شعب العزل ورفع أعداد الكوادر الصحية العاملة فيها وتخفيف قبولات العمليات الباردة.
You can best believe that they're going to mandate, oh wait, they already are mandating the jab over there too. For healthcare workers they are. Which leads me here to Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Yehoshaphat, which is right there in Syria in the Middle East, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Yashala, who they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people and given a boy for a harlot. All were partakers in this, including Syria, because Psalm 83 goes into that, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Because, and this is verse 5, because you have taken my silver, my gold, and carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, the children also of Yehoiada and the children of Jerusalem, which is the northern and southern kingdom, have you sold unto the Grecians that you might remove them far from the border. Yeah, and, well, this is what's happening, because where were they all sent to? Babylon, mostly, right? Behold, I will raise them out of the place whether you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your head. So, hey, payback's a bitch, and that's why all these nations are getting ready to fight over there. So I hope all that has been edifying like everything else. Keep on proclaiming this truth while we still can, man, because the time is coming when we won't be able to get on alternative sites like BitChute. And YouTube will be in control, and we won't be able to get on it anymore. For that, I want to say, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Wa Abba Babal, Brakatum Yehofa Elek, Shalom.